All right, coming to you from Locarno Beach in beautiful Vancouver, Tyler and Sarah. You met them recently on my channel. I showed you their beautiful Class B camper van, pleasureway van that they're living in. They have given up paying rent and they weren't interested in a mortgage, and they love their decision. They're living free now. They're just like me. They live in the city and they work full-time jobs in the city, and you guys have lots of questions for them, and I got all the questions from the video I did a few days ago, so I'm just going to read them off and we're going to answer them. Some of them are for them specifically, some of them are for all three of us, so we're just going to run through them one by one right now. So you guys ready?
Yes.
Do it.
Okay. Jen Shea says, "Hi Justin, I'll be vandwelling as soon as I find a nursing home for my mom, get her settled and sell her house. It's definitely a choice for me. I've dreamed about living in an RV since a show called 3 for the Road with Vince Patton and Leif Garrett. I hope I said that right. Don't judge, haha, since I was a teenager. I'll be living in a 1987 Class B. My plan is to move to Vancouver or Victoria, and I'm wondering where I would go to fill up my tanks with water and where I would dump the gray and black water while stealth camping in the city. Thank you. Keep on rocking in the free world." All right, this is a question we get all the time. I get it all the time. You two get it all the time. And quite a few people actually ask this, so I'm just going to use this as I won't ask it again. Like I'll just take Jen's question there and we'll answer it once and for all right now. I don't know about you guys, but I usually get my water at gas stations. Most of the rubber hose water, like most of us don't drink right out of our taps. No. Vancouver city water is extremely clean, but I still don't trust rubber hoses so much and all that. So for drinking water, I use filters or I use bottled water. But almost every gas station has a water fill up with the air fill up, so it's pretty easy to fill up your water. And actually, I think I showed on a video a while ago how I managed to do it without sitting there for an hour holding the little thing open. Is I use a pair of kitchen tongs with the lock on them. I lock it on the hose and I just let it fill up, just like the old school gas pumps where you could lock it in, right? And let it fill up. That's one option. Any other option is anywhere there's a hose faucet. But just carry around a drinking water hose with you, and anywhere you see a faucet, just fill it up. And friends' houses, backs of buildings, you name it. There's always a place to fill up with water. In fact, that's probably one of the easiest things to do. Yeah, right? You guys agree? Is that where do you usually get your water?
Well, I mean, if we're doing it, like I have at my work, we have all these types of hoses and taps and everything that we can do right at work. So for us, it's like, you know, we just pull in on a Friday, fill up water, but then we also carry like a jug with us. It's like one of those little thin jugs, and we use that for like all of our drinking water, all that kind of stuff. So if it's like we want to have our drinking water, then that's what we have, and then the dogs drink that, we drink that, and then we of course have our tanks. But
correct me if I'm wrong though, you guys are a little different than me, whereas you go elsewhere to shower every day, whereas I use my shower every day. So the water is a whole different story. I actually have to fill up the main tank all the time. And for those of you wondering this, I've gotten asked this too, how often do I do this? About once a week. I can live comfortably off of one tank of water for a week. But you really learn to conserve. You don't leave the tap running and stuff like that, right? And you don't need much to shower. You soak down, turn off the water, lather up, turn it on, rinse off, you're done. Simple as that. So it's not that bad. So I mean, if you don't want to use your shower though, now your water I got mail. Now your water lasts 3 times longer if you don't want to use your shower. So that's an option too. If you're living in the city too, you don't have to use your own shower. There's gyms everywhere. There's community centers everywhere, right? So
I mean,
a lot of people do that.
And shower at the same time.
There you go.
It's a 24-hour gym, so you can literally go whenever.
And every major city has gyms everywhere. So super easy solution. Now, as far as dumping your tanks, for me, I go to there are a lot of Husky gas stations have them, and a lot of RV parks have them, and I dump about once a week. Again, I'm using gray and black water, so I do have to dump quite often, but I just make it part of my weekly routine. One day a week, I do my errands. I do my shopping, my laundry, my water fill up, and my water dumping. And it just becomes normality after a while. So I don't even think twice about it. I've got to dump my tanks, or I'm going to have an overflowing toilet. You know? Where do you guys do that?
We do Burnaby. We go to the Caribou
RV park. Yep.
It's like $12. Dump all your stuff. You know, your tanks. Cool. All that kind of stuff.
That's usually where we
So you know, in Burnaby, the Willingdon Avenue Husky station has a dump station for $5.
$5?
There you go.
New tip.
I'm gonna close this because I feel some wind. I feel some wind coming in there, probably blowing on the camera. Yep, so there you go, $5 in Burnaby. So yeah, again, there's actually an app for all of you doing this full-time RVing and living in your vans. It's called Sandy Dumps. Just look it up on the Android App Store. It's probably on the iPhone store as well. And it will show you the closest Sandy Dumps to where you're located. Of course, when you're outside the cities, there's a lot more than there is in the cities. But being, you know, the lifestyle that we're all living, we move all the time anyways. So making that one trip to Sandy Dump every week is just...
Takes an hour and a half.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing too long.
It's part of the lifestyle.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Jared Sellard says, I only wish I could live like you, Justin, but I have kids and can't do it in the RV. And I would have to, but I would not be parking friendly. I don't know what that means, parking friendly, but you're awesome. Love your videos. Keep on rocking the free world. Okay, Jared. I hear this all the time. I think that people they make up excuses in their mind of why they can't do this. There are lots of people with kids living in RVs. Everywhere. And actually, I'll show you this right now. I'm going to edit this in on the video. It actually just popped up on my Instagram feed today. It's a family of 4 living in a small Class C about the size of this. Yep. It's actually more common than you think. Yep. You don't need the space and the stuff that you think you do. So I think really that objection is really just in your head. If you look around, you'll see that there are people doing it. So if you really want to do it, man, it's always possible.
Yep.
Right? You guys agree with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep. I mean, you guys are living in a Class B with 2 little kids, 2 little furry kids.
2 furry kids.
Yeah. It's the same thing. So.
We make it work.
Wandering Patches asks you two, curious what they do with the dogs in the van during the summer while working 2 jobs. I'm sure you've gotten this all the time.
Seething comments
we actually
about it,
made a video, our second video ever that we made, because we got that question so much, and so much hate came towards us because people thought we were being abusive and leaving our dogs there, and that is not the case.
No, it's the one thing that we worry about the most. So, I mean, the main thing that we do is they come to work with me every day. So they both they're not alone for more than an hour if we run out and go get groceries or something. That's probably the only time they're ever alone. Or right now, but you know, that's about it. So, they're not alone very much at all. And if they are, it's like we crack all the windows. We got the fan going.
Yeah,
they have a fantastic fan too.
Keeps it so much cooler in there.
That's one thing that I've been asked on occasion too about the cat. Now, one of the reasons I got these security screens on my windows is so that I could leave the windows open for the cat when I'm not around with the fantastic fan on the ceiling running. But in all honesty, a lot of people that have this concern don't understand that a motorhome is way better insulated than a Honda Civic.
We live in it.
Or, you know, exactly. Or a minivan or something like that. And I mean, you're going to have your windows open and whatnot. And I was worried that some hero was going to come around and smash my windows because they saw my cat inside. When in reality, inside here in the summer is actually cooler than outside. So I think that's a perception that you kind of have to worry about it. Somebody might smash your window if they see your dogs in there. Or call the cops or something like that. Again, it's that whole, it's not just a car, you know, it's a house. I've got actually insulation in my ceiling and my walls. So but no, I think that all of us living in our RVs with our pets, I think that's the first thing on our mind. That's why I spent $1,000 on these window screens. Just to make sure my cat was comfortable. You know, I wouldn't do that for a girlfriend. But you know,
you shouldn't have to do that for a girlfriend.
She can go outside, you know. Oh man. Corey Rattering says, what are your best practices for staying stealthy? I haven't seen anything in any of your videos that allude to the fact that the authorities have bothered you. It looks like there's a good concentration of van dwellers by you in your videos. Is it just pretty well accepted there? Just curious, because in the States, from what I can see, it can go either way.
I think that's a very valid thing.
It could go either way.
I think Vancouver is very friendly to it, and I think a lot of that stems from it's a very tourist city where there is just a lot of people RVing through, and so when you see it, it's not out of the norm to see something parked on the street. But I think it's also one of those cities where, you know, the people that are van dwelling kind of have like a code among them too, whereas like, you know, you have your bad apples, but I mean a lot of people that are really doing it, it's like they all have a little bit of like a code that they follow, where it's like you kind of have a clean rig, you're not looking like you're not hippie puking all over the place when you're parking.
Hippie puke.
Yeah, so it's like, I mean, you're really looking after kind of what you're doing, and you're still just staying stealth, but what your rig looks like, and you know, not having RV kind of paint jobs, I don't think that matters so much. I think a lot of it is just like making sure it looks respectable and that type of thing.
And obviously there's certain areas where you're not gonna go park. Like you're not gonna go park up there with a whole bunch of mansions because obviously somebody is gonna get pissed off.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Like we're just so you guys know, watching this, we are at the beach, which is literally across the street from multi-million-dollar mansions that are in the double digits, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 million-dollar homes. And if you think that you're just going to squat here with a rusted old camper van or with a motorhome with a tarp over the roof, you know, you got another thing coming. Yeah. And not only are they going to come down on you, it's just going to make it harder for all the rest of us.
Yeah.
So that's why on my channel I make a big deal of trying to educate people on this. Don't squat, move around.
Yes.
If you move around all the time, you'll never have a problem. It's been over a decade since I've had a notice on my windshield anywhere I parked in the city.
We still haven't.
And even if and you've never had one,
No.
and even though I'm in a motorhome, that's, you know, like I said, to me being stealth means not being an eyesore.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you have a big sign on the side of your van that says I live in this. Nobody's going to care unless it looks like a piece of crap.
Yeah.
So.
And if you're taking people's parking stalls,
yes,
you know, it's like that kind of thing is like, as long as you're gone all the time and you show up and it's like in a spot where it's not intrusive to everybody else,
yep.
I think it's totally fine. Like,
fully agree with you. Now, that being said, just so the viewers understand that Vancouver is just like any other major North American city where there is bylaws, and it's not legal. Just because it may be more accepted doesn't mean it's legal. And in fact, there's a lot of cases in the city where people living full-time are complaining that they're getting tickets and being pushed around by the police all the time. But in almost every case, these are people that never move their vehicles, and they're eyesores. They're old, decrepit vehicles. They don't take care of them, and they squat in some place in front of people's houses, and then they wonder why they get chased around. That's all the difference. Here I am parked right now at the beach. Like, I woke up here because I'm respectful about it, and I'm, you know, by dinner time tonight I'll be gone. I might come back next week sometime, but I'm not just going to stay here. You know, and it's great. It's free, so let's not ruin it, right?
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty good that you guys have only been doing this for like a year and you already figured that out.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I mean, it's also watching, you know, your
Watching
channel.
channels like this.
Oh.
You know, you learn everything, right?
Thank you. No. I'm trying to help everyone. It helps me too if people respect the rules, right? So this one is from K Bay Koi. I don't know how to pronounce it. BAYQUOI, and this one's directed to me. All right. You said you have a gun and permit. No, I didn't. I said that I was getting my firearms license. I never said I had a permit, nor do I have a firearm. Okay, first of all. Break-in proof security screens. Yes, I do have those. Building a wall between you and your front cab. Yes, the wall. All right. Is this lifestyle you are leading really that unsafe? Is Vancouver attracting that many criminals? I know you're going to argue that nowhere is completely safe, but in the many towns I have lived in, Vancouver's not one of them, I've never felt so unsafe to the point I would do what you do. Not being critical here, just wondering if there really is that much crime going on in Vancouver that warrants going to those extremes. Having that much wealth there, I could envision that it does attract an unsavory element. But having followed so many other full-timer sites, I've not seen anyone spend so much time on security as you seem to do. Again, just asking for your perception about Vancouver and how safe, unsafe it is. I'm not trying to be critical. All right, well, no, thank you for the question. I think your perception is completely wrong, though. First of all, I put the screens in, as I said, for months on my videos. I was going to do something for my windows for my cat. And the main thing was to protect my cat, so that she wouldn't die in here in the summer, and also so that nobody could break in when I'm not around and I leave the home. Second of all, they market these screens for homes and businesses everywhere. So if I'm being paranoid, then obviously everyone that puts these on their homes and businesses are being paranoid too. Third of all, accidental breakage happens all the time. If you go back to my video where I was explaining the security screens, you read the comments of all the people in their RVs who had smashed windows at one point or another. The windows are the weakest link of any RV or home of any type for that matter. What's the point in locking your door if you've got a giant thin piece of glass as your wall? If you think about it, all it takes is one tree branch and one windstorm, and your wall is gone, and now you're stuck, and it's going to happen in the middle of the night at the worst time in the middle of winter, and you got to make an insurance claim, and you're going to have to put cardboard up on your window or something like that. Your pet might get away. I mean, it's just, I'd rather avoid all that. It's peace of mind. I now feel safe sleeping with my windows wide open, and that is priceless. I don't think it's an extreme. I think it's the bare minimum security that I would do. Now, as far as the wall goes, this is something that I've been wanting to do for years, and actually it's very, very, very common with homemade RVers to do this. I was actually just talking to a gentleman in Coquitlam yesterday who did the same thing with his motorhome. He put a solid wall in with a locking door. It makes it feel more like a house. It also, I don't need I don't want the front cab exposed. It's a huge heat loss in the winter. That's another big problem. Plus, yes, it is good for security. When people look in the front cab and they see a locked door, they're less likely to smash your window and try to break in to grab your TV and sell it for crap.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is bare minimum stuff. This isn't extreme in any way whatsoever. No. Remember, the RVs are not built for people like us living in them full time. They're built for people that drive them to RV parks and plug them in for a 2-week vacation. That's it. They're not built for this. Yeah. If they were built for full-time use, I'm pretty sure RVs would be built more like this, with tough windows, walls, probably wood stoves too. You know what I mean? So, to me, it's just bare minimum. I don't think it's paranoia at all. As far as the gun permit goes, I got my firearms license. Now, you might be in the States, so you have a different perception down there of firearms. Down in the States, a lot of people think they need to carry around a gun to protect themselves against everybody. In Canada, this is actually a statistic, only 5% of gun owners buy a gun because they want it for self-defense, all right? Most of us just like to shoot stuff. We like to put holes in paper, and we like hunting. Duck hunting, game hunting, you name it. There's a lot of firearms owners in Canada, and not very many of them are really tinfoil people like that. We're not too worried about it. But I will say this, it is nice to know if shit ever hits the fan or there's a zombie apocalypse that I've got a shotgun to take his head off. Yep. Those zombies, they're fast.
You gotta watch them.
And I have security screens. It's all just, it's peace of mind thing. But no, I'm not getting a shotgun because I'm worried about someone breaking in. And that's the last thing you want to do, is take someone's fucking life for trying to steal a TV anyways. You take out his foot or something, but you know. So I think your perception is very twisted. It's a little warped. I don't mean that in an insulting way. I'm just saying that I think that everything you perceived about why I put the screens and getting my firearms license, putting my wall in, I think they're just all wrong. This is why I bought this particular motorhome. I had all this in my head ahead of time. I knew I was going to put the wood stove. I knew I was going to build a wall. And the windows, I knew I had to do something about it. And like I said, I'd rather just have no windows at all for security reasons and insulation reasons. But it's actually pretty nice now. We're down at the beach now, and I can have my windows wide open. And I mean, there were people playing out here with volleyballs a few minutes ago, and the balls were flying everywhere. I don't have to worry about my glass getting smashed now. Yeah. Go ahead, hit my window, play frisbee, use my window as practice. I got to for tennis or something. It doesn't matter anymore. Yeah. So it's definitely a really nice feeling to have this protection next to me. I don't think it's paranoia. I think it's just common sense, right? If you guys could get these screens for your van, would you not get them?
Yeah, now we're thinking about getting them for the back of the van.
Yeah. The company that sold these to me, after I put that YouTube video out, their phone lines exploded. Apparently, everybody on my channel was calling them to try to get quotes for their motorhomes. So I think that's awesome. Yeah. Again, and it's definitely raised the retail value. So it's one less thing to worry about. A few years ago, too, I had a motorhome with air pressure. It was too much air pressure inside. It didn't have enough vents. So I shut the door, the actual oh, fuck you. Okay, thank you. There you go. Yeah, I shut the door. All the other doors were closed and windows were closed. I shut the door, and one of the main windows shattered from the air pressure inside.
Whoa. Wow.
Now, that can happen too. I mean, it's just another, if that happened, that would suck. I'd have to replace the glass, but I wouldn't have to freak out about it. I still have security. I still have something there, a barrier. So it's that extra security, right? Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people in homemade motorhomes will put bars over their windows. I've seen a lot of them will actually, that guy that did the wall I was telling about in Coquitlam, he actually filled in his windows with solid wood on the inside and painted them over and put shelves up. He just no windows at all.
That in the back of ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't use those windows.
You don't need them.
Covered up.
All you need is one window for a little bit of ventilation, or if you need to peek outside, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
really
it's just a heat sink.
Open the door, and we can have it wide open.
A giant door, right? Yeah, exactly. All right, so that's that. Gypsy Rollin'. Gypsy Rollin' has a cool Class B. I can tell from their profile picture. Says, I do home care as a physical therapist on Marco Island. I downsized from a house in Ohio to a rental trailer in Naples. I've been taking short trips in my Class B and getting ready to do a month. I'm trying to work myself up to do what you're doing. Do you know many girls living full-time in an RV? I guess this is a woman. I know a few. There's Sarah here. There's Melinda you've seen on my channel. You're going to meet another girl real soon. She's coming later today to do an interview with me. There are girls everywhere doing this. In the parking lot right across from where we are right now, there's a few women living in RVs. They're everywhere. I wouldn't say it's 50-50. I would say maybe 60-40 or 70-30. But either way, there's a big chunk of women doing this. And a lot of single women and a lot of couples. You name it. So just because you don't see them on YouTube doesn't mean that they're not there. For every one person with a YouTube channel, there's another 10,000 out there that don't have a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah.
Like there's got to be a few thousand in Metro Vancouver, a few thousand people living in RVs and camper vans, but only like 2 or 3 of us have a channel on YouTube. So
well, and I think a lot of it too is like, as being a woman, it's probably pretty scary to put yourself out there as being alone in a van all by yourself. So
Definitely.
it's like, you're probably not going to see that very often. But
I've seen that where they're afraid to do that. I've definitely seen
which
that.
totally makes sense. I mean, dudes are weird people, so you know you got to be careful. So
oh, some chicks are pretty weird too. Watch out, man. You know you found a good one though if you can move into a 100 square foot camper van.
Yeah.
So yeah. Julie says, question, do your employers or coworkers know that you live on wheels, and if so, has it had a negative impact, or was it a non-impact piece of information? Thanks for your help. Go ahead.
Yeah, I told all my coworkers. I was super stoked about the idea of moving in, and everything that we were doing with it beforehand and all of that. So yeah, everybody at work knows it's not a big deal. The owner of the company, he is from Salt Spring Island, so it's kind of a non-issue.
Yeah.
Salt Spring Island, which is one of the Gulf Islands. For everyone watching, you've seen my videos on Galiano Island. Salt Spring is one of the other Gulf Islands, and it's full of the hippie nature and the free spirit and people living in tree houses and stuff like that. They also happen to be a company that came out with this awesome coffee, Salt Spring coffee. And she brought me this bag because the one she brought me before is almost empty. So that's really the only reason they're here right now, because I needed more coffee. But figured we'll do another interview, you know. I'll vouch for that too, as well. I've had many jobs over the years and lots of different professions, and I've never felt that you should hide. I don't think that the way that your apartment is built has any relevance to your employment, or whether it's sitting on wheels, or whether it's parked out back, or whether it's on the other side of the city. In fact, it's the opposite. It's actually been a benefit. I've had many jobs where I've literally lived on the premises, parked at work. I even had one job where they plugged me in behind the work. And with the last couple of jobs that I've worked, it's been a huge benefit because I've been able to go to separate locations and show up to, they know I'm there because I don't have to commute. I can be near work. And if I have to change location, no problem. Right now I'm working out in the suburbs of Vancouver, an hour away from here, because I can. I don't have to worry about it. If I lived in Vancouver in an apartment, I would not want to commute to the other side of Metro Vancouver to go to this job. But as it is now, I can go work my 5 days there and just live in my RV in the area. It's been a huge benefit. And are you kidding? I brag about it. The management loves it. They're just like, that's awesome. Justin's the most reliable guy we have because he's never stuck in traffic, and he'll go to another store if we need him to go to another store. So it's been awesome. And I actually get a lot of my coworkers now are all thinking, Jesus, man, you're the smartest guy in the company. I get this all the time. Even my current manager, my boss, she's struggling to find a place to live right now, even in the suburbs. And she's like, I really should just get an RV, because it's so expensive in Vancouver. And even if you have the money, it's hard to find a place in Vancouver. So no, there's been no negativity whatsoever. It's been actually the complete opposite. It's been a benefit for me, and being able to choose where I want to work at any given time. And I can actually just go to another city tomorrow if I want, get a job. I don't have to worry about moving and finding a place. So Mr. Shadower 2 says, question, I know you don't travel, talking to me mostly because I don't leave the city very much. But what source of income could provide your travels as far as online jobs? I look these things up, and people always just say sell arts and crafts or write a book. I know. I'm about to join this lifestyle. Was wondering a job career to take with me. Honestly, I'm gonna say online is gonna be your best bet for that sort of thing.
Tyler's been looking.
There's a lot. I mean, a lot of it requires you to have some sort of background in something, whether it be graphic design or writing or just like editing or, video work, which, I mean, isn't hard to learn. And a lot of people, when they're looking for something, it's like they'll pay you pretty decent amount to just kind of like edit or chop something up or make a little logo or do something like that. And it's like there's websites devoted to that type of thing where you can just go and kind of bid for a job, and if you get it, sweet. If you don't, there's another 10,000 to choose from, so just keep bidding on jobs.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Hey.
So there's that, but I think a lot of other things you can do is just take like part work, go work for a couple weeks and do that type of thing.
I know a few people that do that. They'll literally go from town to town and just get little odd jobs, laboring and whatever you can do.
Photographer couple, I can't remember their name. They've got Instagram, and I'm not sure if they have a full YouTube or not, but
they do.
They just go from wedding to wedding, and they're like, we're going to be in this area for this amount of time, advertise for it, and then they get jobs and then move on to the next place.
Now, that's really good for the people. And work camping is popular too. That's if you don't when you do work camping though. Now you're set to go to certain places as opposed to having total freedom to. That's the big difference, right?
But, because even farming's a huge thing, and especially the Okanagan, where you can go pick apples for a little bit and then go off and do your other thing for a little while. But,
you can also make a really cool YouTube channel, and Google starts sending you a check every month too.
Yeah,
that's another good thing to do. So it's getting up there. I quite often I figure, should I just quit my job? It gets to that point, but I like to save my money too. So it's like I save my money plus Google pays my bills, and the rest of the money is that's my actual income. That's the way I look at it, right?
Yeah.
So Shelly Dodson says, here is my question. I watch other YouTube channels and all I see is breakdowns, leaks, money being poured into satellite setups, hotspot setups, buddy heaters. I find it overwhelming. If and when I try going full time, it will be because I cannot stand being in my current life strapped down by this home, etc. I'm not sure I can do it though. I have to look forward to, if all I have to look forward to are breakdowns, stress, and constantly chasing basic pleasures like Wi-Fi and TV. And yes, most of the mechanical stuff I've seen. All right, well, I'm going to answer this first, Shelly. I would say that when you're moving from a house or an apartment to an RV or a boat or anything else, all you're doing is trading one set of problems for another. There's no such thing as a home that's not going to have problems. If you're in a home, you could have a $20,000 roof repair. You could have plumbing problems. You could have, there's all sorts of things that can go wrong. Same thing could happen with a motorhome. Plus, you have the car mechanics. But if you're living in a house and you have all those problems, chances are you also drive a car. So you also have to deal with a car already.
Yep.
So what's the difference? Now you're just combining the two, and overall the cost is going to be less. As far as you're talking about people setting up their satellites and all that, that's optional. I don't have satellite. I don't care so much about it. I have a TV antenna. I watch TV maybe once a week. I use a cell phone data plan for my internet, and I limit my internet so I don't go over my limit. But also because when you're living this lifestyle, you can be at a place like this on the beach and hanging out with cool people like this, and you're not sitting in front of a screen all day.
Yep.
So to me, disconnecting a little bit from all that stuff is one of the big advantages of this lifestyle. I used to be in an apartment years ago, staring at a computer screen all day and night.
Yep.
It was horrible. Now I'm in my RV, and I try to not look at my screen unless I have to.
Yeah.
And I'm better for it. That's just my opinion on that. But as far as things like buddy heaters and all that, what you're seeing is people that are trying to make their motorhomes livable. Because, like I've said many times on my channel, that motorhomes are not built to be livable out of the box. They're made for that vacation market. They're not meant for full-time RVing. So what you're seeing is people trying to convert them into permanent living quarters, like I've done with this, with the wood stove and the solar panels and things like that. So if you're going to live in one full-time that doesn't already have all that stuff done by somebody, you're probably going to have to do some modifications yourself. You guys, speaking of that, are going to be putting in a Dickinson propane fireplace, right?
Yeah.
Same as I had in my last motorhome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're gonna find that stuff that just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Where certain things like propane heaters that you normally get with one create a lot of moisture.
Yes.
When you're trying to live in it in the wintertime, you end up having mold issues. You end up having a lot of things. So it's like one small fix like that ends up changing a ton of problems down
Correct.
the road. So you're always gonna have to modify.
And that's one advantage of the Dickinson, though, is that it's sealed and it's a warm, dry heat. You will get no moisture. It'll just dry your place out.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Also, as far as like mechanical issues, it's gonna happen with any sort of vehicle, and it's still cheaper than rent to fix. Like we just had some stuff go on our vehicle, and we were like, we're prepared to pay up to $2,000, if it's something crazy, and that's still like 2 months of rent.
In Vancouver, not even a month in some places.
We paid $1,500 before we left.
Yeah.
Van,
So I mean, it's not such a big deal.
Yeah.
No, it ended up costing $500, which is
there you go.
for one breakdown a year that we've had so far.
Oh, yeah,
it's $500.
It's all about perception. Somebody go, oh my God, look, these people are having problems on the road. But I'm like, wait a minute, you've already got problems in your life too.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're gonna have problems no matter what you do.
Yeah.
But I would take a breakdown every month. I'd rather do that than go back to an apartment.
Yeah.
To be honest,
oh,
you know?
100%. I mean, when you buy an apartment, you're still paying $400 to $500 a month, and
you can still have tons of problems.
Yeah, but you're still paying for.
My parents' condo has had leaky roof problems, electrical issues. That stuff has just been never-ending hell for them living there for over a decade.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I might have to reseal my roof vent next year. Like, you know, it's not a big deal.
$5
Yeah,
worth of
it's not going to be. There's nothing that's going to be maintenance free. You got to keep on top of it, and as long as you keep on top of it, your chances of you having an actual serious problem are minimalized, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, for sure.
it's just basic maintenance. It's house maintenance on a smaller scale. John Quinn says, "Hi Justin, my question: what happened with the torch giveaway? I watch all your vids. Also follow you on Facebook. Have not heard any more about it. Keep on rocking the free world. Thank you for reminding me. The winner of the T10 flashlight is Tony L. Tony L. This is your comment. You said, my 6-year-old daughter loves your intro to your videos and sings with it every time she sees it, or even if in the other room will come out and start singing it. With that being said, I was watching this video. She said, Dad, I want that flashlight. I told her, well, I don't know, but I'll send him this message and see. But if you decide that she would get it, she loves flashlights and always tries to be the little helper. We would send you a video with it and her singing. Keep on rocking in the free world. All right, so Tony L, the company, Through Night, is going to send you the flashlight. So what I need you to do is message me on YouTube or send me a message on www.rv.life with your contact information and your mailing address so I can get that sent out to you, all right? Congrats, and I look forward to the video. So how many degrees Fahrenheit is 30 kilometers an hour?
How many gallons in a liter?
Celsius.
Yeah.